What's going on, everybody? It's Joel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the RPM training session and comp 4.0 speed ropes. I've been using RPM speed ropes for a very long time. I actually learned my double unders on the RX rope, and then soon after that quickly graduated to the fastest rope that I could find at the time, which was the original RPM rope. And while it was the fastest at the time, it was a little bit on the heavy side. And then after that, when they released the 2.0, I jumped up on that one, used that one as my main rope for a very long time, got a customized one and everything. And then when the 3.0s came out, of course, I was gonna get those as well. So I got the Session 3.0 and I got the Comp 3.0. But after the Evo rope came out, maybe a couple years ago, that became my rope of choice, though I still feel probably the most confident jumping on RPM ropes because I've been jumping with them for so long. So if you take a look at the Session 4.0 and Comp 4.0 ropes, there's not a whole lot aesthetically different than the 3.0 ropes. The design is pretty much identical. The knurling, though it does look very similar on the Sessions, is a little bit different. I want to say it's a little bit more aggressive on the 3.0 than the 4.0. And then the competition rope is pretty much identical, but there's one big difference that we're gonna go over. Let's start with the Sessions right now. So, like I said, the knurling is a little bit more aggressive on the 3.0s than the 4.0s, but it's only just slightly aggressive. It's not that much different, and I don't think that you would notice it if you weren't holding the two side by side. The cable that they're using is the same exact like PVC coated cable. It's not my favorite cable in the world. I think that's probably the worst part about the Session. It works, it's fast, you can do double unders on it, but it does feel a little bit light and flimsy in the air and doesn't feel like it cuts the air as well as a bare cable would. The build quality between the two ropes is also a little bit better. On the Session 3.0, there's a little bit of play in the handle there, and then on the 4, there's virtually none. So the main difference between the 4.0 and the 3.0s is that the 4.0s now use bearings to control the rotation, whereas the 3.0s used a bushing. They're much more noisy and not as smooth as bearings are gonna be. So for comparison, here is the sound of the 3.0. It still spins very well, it just doesn't spin that smooth. And here is the 4. It is very smooth, but on the other handle of my 4.0, it's not as smooth. So that's, I think, probably an anomaly, maybe a manufacturing error. You can definitely hear the bearing on one of mine, and you can feel it as well, being not as smooth as the other. So the comp ropes differences are a little bit smaller than on the Sessions. The knurling is the exact same between the 3.0 and the 4.0. It is a lot more aggressive than on both of the Sessions. There's no contest. If you have sweaty hands, then it's a no-brainer to go with the competition just because it's way easier to hold on to. These ones both have a bare cable, which cuts the air very well. And if you were to get a Session, I would just say upgrade to the bare cable because that's going to be the biggest difference between the two handles. So like the Session, the build quality of the comp rope is a little bit better. The handles are secured a little bit better. They are smoother because they do use bearings, though my Session, or the one handle of my Session, spins a little bit faster than my comp handles do. And that goes for both of them, though both of my comp handles are smooth. So I don't have to worry about that. The biggest difference with the comp handles that you might not notice at first is that they are a little bit lighter, and that's because the thickness of the shell of the handle is a little bit thinner. It's ever so slightly thinner. The Session 3.0, Comp 3.0, and Session 4.0 all have the same thickness handles, whereas the Comp 4.0 is just ever so slightly thinner than all of them. So like I said before, I probably feel the most comfortable using RPM handles because I have been using them for so long, and that goes no different for the 4.0 series. These are still some of the best ropes for me personally. Like I said, I've been using the Evo ropes. That has been my go-to rope just because it is extremely fast. And while the RPM ropes are not quite as fast as far as free spin goes, I can get large sets of double unders done with the RPM ropes without fatiguing myself, just like I can with the Evo ropes. They both spin extremely well and fast, though, like I said, get the bare cable for the session handles because that is going to be the biggest difference maker. Even though my sessions have a little bit of friction, I don't notice it when I'm actually doing double unders, and you probably wouldn't either. Which leads me to another topic, and that's while these do have bearings to control the rotations, which theoretically is smoother and faster, I didn't really notice that much of a speed difference between these handles and the 3.0 handles, which were already fast and smooth in the first place. If there's any difference that I could highlight between the 3.0 and the 4.0 handles, it's that the 4.0s feel like they're a little bit more positive, like they want to stay in motion a little bit better than the 3.0s, but it's very slight, and I don't think many people are going to notice it unless they're switching back and forth between both of the ropes. Either way, I still think the RPM handles are some of the best in the business. These would easily be my second pick over the Evo rope, but then again, you have to also consider the fact that the Evo does cost double these handles do. The Comp rope retails for $70 and the Session retails for $65. For my money, I would personally, unless you like the colorways of the Sessions, buy the Comp 4.0 because it does come with the better knurling and the bare cable. But if you wanted something a little bit more durable, then the Session does come with a coated cable, but that does not mean that you should use these jump ropes outside. These are meant for indoor use only. If you guys have any questions about the RPM Comp 4.0 or Session 4.0 ropes, feel free to leave them in the comments section. And as always, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe, and thanks for watching.